Democrat Seth Moulton doubles down after trans comment backlash. Democratic Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton is standing firm after facing backlash for comments on transgender athletes. He said, quote, "The backlash I've received proves my point that we can't even have these discussions as a party," end quote. He added, quote, "We have a wing of our party that shames us, that tries to cancel people who even bring up these difficult topics," end quote. Moulton's remarks came after he was quoted in the New York Times following Vice President Harris's 2024 election loss. He pointed to identity politics as a reason for the Democrats' defeat, saying, quote, "I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that," end quote. The comment witnessed a swift backlash, with Massachusetts Democratic Party Chair Steve Kerrigan clarifying that Moulton's comments, quote, "do not represent the broad view of our party," end quote. A former sponsor of the Transgender Bill of Rights, Moulton has supported transgender protections in the past. His re-election was endorsed by the Human Rights Campaign. He also has a history of supporting LGBTQ equality. However, despite his long-standing advocacy, Moulton insists that competitive women's sports need limits on participation by those, quote, "with the unfair physical advantages that come with being born male," end quote. He argued the Democrats lost the election in part because the party, quote, "shames and belittles too many opinions," end quote. Moulton urged Democrats to have open debates now to build a united opposition to the new Trump administration. Well, here's what I think.
Give it to us straight.
I think that it's more than likely that we're going to hear more of this kind of language from Democrats following the bloodbath of the 2024 election. Moulton has often been mentioned as a potential candidate for higher office, so whether we agree with his way of thinking or not, we really should be prepared to hear more of this kind of rhetoric. Yeah. It's just that people are upset after this election.
That's exactly it.
It's scapegoating in a way, and they're trying to blame it on somebody.
Scapegoating, gaslighting, all of the things that make you feel like you're the one who's doing everything wrong when you're not.
And people are we're willing to have the conversation, but when you approach us in condescending ways, I mean, it's a difference. It's one thing to have a conversation about a particular issue, but a lot of these folks, they're not trying to have a conversation. They're trying to down us.
Well, it's interesting because I went into this story blind a little bit. Like I came to the roundtable really prepared, but I didn't get to this part of it. And so I read the beginning of it, and at first it seemed nice. And then I got into it more and I was like, oh, but that's exactly what you just said. It's like the conversation. It was like a bait and hook. He got me in. And then I kept reading a little bit more and I was like, oh, wait, this is not in my favor whatsoever, for what he's saying.
And they're saying they want to have conversation, but they don't really want to.
But the excuse of I have 2 little girls. Okay, great. I understand. We all do. But
who are these 2 little girls playing?
Right. And
how young are they?
Right.
Who's the
referee of the game?
Like
going to let
a
that
6'4" trans woman barreling down towards his little girls. I mean,
that's right. It's the creating the fear and the everything like that. Of course, yes.
That's true.